yo, what's up?
What's happening?
It's just the same old Groundhog Day as always,
Yeah,
Getting through it all.
a little dreary this weekend, actually.
It was cracker during the week, though.
It was beautiful during the week. Wow.
Spring.
Yeah. Just in time for the weekend. We get just great. That's the way of the world at the moment.
I don't have plans anyway, other than watching Rebellion tomorrow.
Correct.
So, if you listen to it, so it was on Sunday. If I didn't release it on Sunday, then yeah. But that was good. Yeah, man. It's all good. But hey, look, I don't think we'll let our guest waiting because I don't think he's ready to let rip. So, all right. So he's been on the podcast before on episode 159. He's he's the leader of NTG Gym in Queensland. You know him, you love him. Nugget McNaught. How are you today, sir?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good, mate. Awesome. So look, what we want to talk about today, I'd like to start off with, it's everyone remembers back in the day, teams, I had strong teams, it inspired a lot of Muay Thai fighters to be Muay Thai fighters to get into the sport from there. But now, you're going into that new generation of your gym. Do you want to talk about who you got in your stable so far and and all the exciting prospects that you got coming through?
Yeah, down the gym we've got Kane Singleton, super good prospect. We've got young Isiah, 12 years old, another young boy, Max V. And yeah, we're collecting a few young blokes. We actually had Rocky come in and join the team. And we've also got the Tafa gang down here, Junior Tafa and Justin Tafa. And yeah, we've got Ricky on the boxing side with my boxing trainer, Steve Wajenko. We have Ricky Esilva, who's knocking everybody out and he's everyone's hearing his name in the boxing world. And also we have Alex Leopai, the great legend of the Islander community in Queensland, with his two sons, who one his son is about, I think he's 130 kilos, 120 kilos, 15 years old, and loves boxing and just got picked by the Roosters. So, yeah. And he's got another son, younger boy, EJ, who's really talented young kid as well.
Probably a couple of things to touch on there, but I know what a lot of people will be hoping to learn a little bit about is, of course, Rocky, one of the most established names that's come through. An interesting one, because I know what I can see happening, as you mentioned with your team, is a lot of the young blokes you're kind of picking up from scratch. Rocky, of course, quite an established, very talented fighter when he came through. So what's that kind of been like? How did it come together? How did you find, taking him under your wing has been?
Look, a lot of people wouldn't realise Rocky and Ricky Esilva live together. And they're best mates. So I think Ricky coming home from training constantly, saying how great the gym is, and then Rocky obviously just wanting to go his own way and test his own what he wanted to do. And he contacted me, reached out a bit, and I said, yeah, come in and have a look at the gym.
Yeah, of course, contracted to one championship, has had a couple fights there. Do you have plans to get Rocky back on one? Is Rocky changing his focus maybe towards MMA?
I'm nor am I a fan or I'm not a fan of ONE FC and whatever they're doing or whatever, with contracts and all that. I don't really get into. I ran the biggest shows in Australia and I didn't have anyone on contract. I had them on my hand as a shake. So when you're making $100,000, $1 million, you can have contracts. But when you're not getting paid that sort of money, you should be able to give your word and say, yeah, I'm going to have you. So as far as that goes, man, we'd love to see him on ONE FC. I think the Singaporeans would love to see him. Since he's been at the gym, so many Singaporeans have written to me and asked, when are you coming to Singapore, blah, blah, blah. So, and even my own mates that run the national team in Singapore say, I can't wait to get you over, bring Rocky for the grappling and the sparring and everything.
Okay, so plans, Singapore-based plans, whether it's one or not, with one.
Yeah. Look, I've got a really good relationship with the guys in Thai boxing in Singapore, and so for me, Singapore's like a second home, probably more than Thailand to me now. So
nice. So with someone like Rocky, when you get him in, until you get to such point, or getting back on one, it might be the travel. But as inside Australia here, What are you looking for Rocky? I know he's met quite before, but
for Rocky, hey, my best mate's got the best promotion in Queensland, Eruption, called them Macaulay, and also the one of my business partners with the gym. So, like, obviously, we're going to pump him on Eruption, and I'm sure Si's definitely a Rocky fan, like 100% Muay Thai. He'll definitely want to see Rocky on his shows, and also Mark the Hammer.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's we stick on the East Coast these days, where the sun's brighter.
Yeah. Do you
know what they say, Hugh? Hated in the West for being the best.
What about opponents for Rocky? Does he or yourself kind of have anyone in mind domestically that he's looking to fight?
Domestically, look, I have to say this, and like I've trained a lot of fighters, Daddy Cool, Soren, all those guys. Rocky's just something else. Like he really is like a little Thai in a white body.
Yeah.
Like, and when he trains, like he really trains. Like I've said before that Toby Smith trained very good on the pad, like was very aggressive and like really endured, like really went for it on the pads. And I put Rocky even higher than that, because just not because he's new at the gym, just because he's actually like really focused on his training and he really wants to be the best. And I think it's guys like Soren, guys like Daddy Cool, guys like Toby and that inspired these young guys. Rocky's just at that, same as Ben Mahoney.
Yeah.
They're at that age where they saw the Evo years and man, it made them. Whereas these new age fighters, I don't think half of them, they all want to be fighters and hold the trophy up or the belt at the end of the fight. But man, when it comes to training, they don't want to train hard. That's half the problem with these guys. And they don't understand. Outside of Australia, there's guys training hard, like training like there's nothing else.
But Rocky's got it.
Oh, Rocky's definitely got, man. He's a talented dude, and his missus is John Wayne's daughter, so he only knows one thing: training. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's very focused, and like most girlfriends don't understand the sport, but Jazzy understands. To get the best, he's got to be at the gym. He's got to train, and she supports him 100%.
Strong environment.
Yeah.
And sort of what's it like for, like, you know, what does it mean for your young guys to have someone? I mean, like, you know, Rocky's pretty young too, but the guy's even younger than Rocky.
Rocky's I get what you're saying, you. Rocky's a young fighter, but he's actually old in the fight. Like he's been around for a while.
He's experienced.
He's done his time, but he's great to have in the gym. He's always helpful. Like a lot of the boys, like it even helps me because I can have one boy on the pads, and if I know someone's lazy on the bag, I can say, hey, play fight with Rocky. Like it keeps them busy. It's, you know, and moving around with him for 5 minutes is better than sitting on the bag being a lazy cunt. You know what I mean? Sorry for the language.
Swear words perfectly okay around here.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned as well, of course, the Tafa gang. You got the Tafas in there. Of course, Justin's already in the UFC.
Justin's already in UFC.
Junior's going to go to the Contender Series. What's it like, you know, having MMA at that level now in the fold?
Hugh, I think we all know. I had a little tinker in 2015 when I went to Brazil and trained the Nogueiras and trained with them. Like from that point, I started to respect it a bit. I saw those guys, the way they wrestled and the things they did. And I actually met a Russian called Katag, who actually won, I think, a silver medal or bronze medal in, I don't know, 2014 or something, Olympics, or 2012. I don't know what year it was, but he was real. Like I saw a different side of fighting, and just the not just the wrestling, but like just their mindset of not like they'll die. Those dudes, like those MMA fighters are tough dudes.
Yeah. So when you're kind of working with these guys that are moving towards MMA, you know, how does the way that you work with them sort of differ on the striking
we're still at the baby steps of MMA at the gym, but having Justin Tafa and having Gerard Tafa is the oldest Tafa. and we call him the coach, big coach, we call him, right? And having him here helping me is really good. We're slow. I wouldn't say we've got the training schedule down yet, but in time, I think we're going to provide the MMA world with some monsters.
And do you?
And I'm going to throw a little tip out there.
Let's go.
Because Rocky will be one of those monsters.
Yeah.
He said to me that he wants to fight in the UFC and he wants to be a UFC world champion. And I believe after all the fighters I've trained in my life and guys I've seen and like, hey, I've gone to a lot of countries. I've seen a lot of real fighters. I think Rocky really does have what it takes. A lot of people might know this. Rocky went to a BJJ tournament at the Gold Coast once just to watch. I think John Wayne's son was fighting on there or something, and it was like the nationals or the state, I think state titles or something. And there was 5 or 6 dudes apparently there, 6, 7 dudes. Wasn't the numbers for the rest. And they said, "Is anyone in the crowd want to have a go?" And he mucked around with the Brazilian dude they have at Bunchu, and he thought, "Oh, I'll jump in and have a go." Yeah. Rocky's the Queensland Jiu-Jitsu champ for his weight division. He beat everybody. So,
what do you put that down to? Just his mind, or
look, he's very skillful in the stand-up grapple as a Thai boxer, and I think he gelled with the Brazilian guy. I don't know him myself personally, but I think he gelled with that guy and worked really well. And Rocky's also got another friend called Reese who fights on one as well.
Yeah.
And Reese has done a lot of stuff with Rocky privately, like training and that. They exchange. You know, Rocky teaches him a little bit of Muay Thai. Reese teaches Rocky a little bit of jiu-jitsu and ground stuff. And whatever Reese has showed him, it worked.
Yeah, Reese is good.
You've got Reese coming in sometimes as well.
Yeah,
right?
we do have Reese coming in as well. So I don't want to let too many secrets out. But I'm just going to say this. I don't talk it up ever. And everything I've ever said I've done. I said I'd be a famous, I'm not going to say famous fighter, but I said to my mum I'm going to be a fighter. I was a fighter. I said to my mum I was going to be a famous trainer. I'll become a famous trainer. I said to her I was going to become the biggest promoter in Australia. I reckon I did that at one stage of my life. And now I'm telling you, my gym and myself will be known in that MMA world. We're coming.
Yeah, they're here first.
Yeah.
Nugget, like it seems like especially for MMA there, it's like just building the right team, and you seem to be really good at that, like picking the right people in your area. So like, you know, like how did all this come about, like this connection? Was it just made over the year, or did you source out the people a bit more?
Nah, look, Junior Tafa and Justin Tafa and that, they walked in, like they did a lot of sparring at Paul Demacoli's old gym.
Yeah.
That Hitman gym with Anthony Valla, they did a lot of sparring there and that. So they made a relationship with Paul Demacoli. And then when we opened this gym, we invited them down for a talk and sit, and if they wanted to use the facilities, and then they just liked it here. And I think they see, look, everybody knows you can say what you want about me or do what you want, but any fighter I've ever trained, I'm not about the money. If you make money, I'm happy. If you give me a bit of money, I'm happy. If you don't give me any money, I'm still happy. As long as I'm in the fight sport and I'm doing what I love, I don't care. At the end of the day, I watched a TV show. Paul Demacoli put me onto a show called Mr. In-Betweeners or something. And the old boxing coach says to the hitman guy in there, "Mate, I mightn't be rich with money, but I'm rich in life because I'm in a gym every day and I'm doing what I love." Man, I feel that every day I'm in my gym, I'm smiling. I got a little coffee shop at the gym. I got coffee. I walk down the stairs in the morning. I got a coffee waiting for me, man. You can't beat that.
It's a good way to live.
Yeah.
Awesome facilities. Remember going down there for eruption. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Something for me to aspire to, really. So, like, talking about Tafa and Junior getting his shot on Dana White's Contender Series, that's official now.
Look,
how'd that come about? Because he doesn't really have much MMA experience that I know of. So.
He doesn't. Well, all right. What people and I'm going to point it out because there'd be a few haters out there. He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. Junior is a special guy. When you meet Junior, I met Junior when he was younger. Attitude, a lot heavier. I don't know, 100 and whatever kilos. He's really evolved in the person that he's become. And once you meet him, you can't help but like him. He's so charismatic and he's so in your face. Like, he don't let you not like him. And if you don't like him, he doesn't really care. He's got this magic about him that a lot of guys lack. So first of all, he's promotable.
Yeah.
And second of all, man, he's skillful. And what a lot of people forget is he's done a lot of training camps with Mark Hunt.
Yeah.
Like a lot at Tiger. And when he was at Tiger, he met Glenn. I don't know the guy's nationality, but he's got a big mullet and he's a muscly guy. Man, that cunt can wrestle like the demon. And like, boy, Russians stand clear of that guy. That's how good he is at wrestling.
Yeah.
So Junior spent a lot of time with him and Mark Hunt in these camps, and he got quite agile on the ground. I actually say he's like an eel for a big guy on the ground. Like he really can get out of stuff. He's quite smart. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And with Justin's people don't see this either, because Justin likes to stand and trade and give the fans the fight they want, like the punches and the Islander style big bombs. But Justin actually can wrestle too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's actually got wrestling skills. So I think Junior getting in the UFC, yes, he hasn't had any MMA fights, but I think they see what we all see, that he's marketable, and there's just something about him. He's got that X factor, and it's not just, man, you can ask Andrew Parnham and his heavyweight guy. Man, that guy on paper, man, he had all the credentials. He had everything. Even I thought to myself, oh, this could be a bit dangerous in the grapple, this and that. It never got to the grapple because Junior's got that. And when he hits you with it, with 10-ounce gloves on, you go down. Imagine him hitting you with small gloves, man. I think he'll end some lives in UFC.
Yeah, he's got the touch of death.
Yeah. He's definitely got the touch of something.
So I'm always interested, as combat sports kind of the fandom kind of changes, a little bit more mainstream attention. You've got a large scale facility, world class facility. The place is unreal if people haven't seen it, and you are kind of moving a little bit more towards that MMA team. You've got this growing team of professionals, but of course, like, quite rooted in Muay Thai. A lot of your young guys are doing Muay Thai. Do you foresee a full-scale move over where kind of everyone's doing MMA, or do you think you'll be operating a facility where some guys are Muay Thai, some guys are MMA?
I'll definitely never say that I won't train just Muay Thai fighters, because I see some of the things in Kane that he lacks now, footwork and stuff like that. That it's a slower progress for him. Whereas now I've got young Isiah, who's 12 years old. I want Isiah to have 50 Muay Thai fights before he even thinks about having a wrestling fight. And I don't think it's good. I don't know much about the MMA scene. My only connection to MMA is my mate's Adrian Pang. And I hung out with him and I trained with him a lot before I went to Thailand for those 7.5 years. So my thing is, I don't want to come across bad, but like, I wouldn't want to see little kid wrestling and ground and pounding and all that. Yeah. I love the jiu-jitsu, I love the wrestling and all that, but I want to see Isiah learn stand up properly as a Thai boxer. And then when he's older and when he, whether he gets bored with Thai boxing or whether he wants to go the same route as Rocky and, let's say, Kane, another one going to MMA. Let's say he wants to go down that route. The vessel's there ready to sail if he needs it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you look at like a lot of the UFC fights, like the top guys, most of them have specialized in something and they built their around it. It's like there's no kind of what they call MMA native much anymore, where they trained everything from the start.
Look, I look at it like this: Ricky De Silva's a boxer. Came from Thai boxing, broke his leg, which forced him to go into boxing a little bit more, you know, like, because he couldn't, once it healed, he didn't feel confident to fight straight away. So obviously he goes to boxing. When he came here, he came as a boxer, not a Thai boxer. Now, he punches like a fucking freight. Like, he's a big dude, man. When he hits so heavy and with such force. Now I see when he does injure his hand, if we've got MMA, you can jump in and wrestle for 2 weeks. You can, like, the strength and the fitness of these guys that wrestle. And I'm not saying BJJ and like slow, you know, with the geese. I'm talking full physical wrestling, picking up, getting slammed on the ground and getting back up on your feet. Man, that's hard work.
Yeah.
So as a fighter, I think if we have that in our system, that people can have a break from, say, their striking and go to that, man, it's only going to make you a more rounded fighter. And even if Ricky De Silva was to never have a wrestling fight in his life or never have an MMA fight in his life, when another guy is punching on with him and they get to that exhausted stage in the boxing when they're leaning on each other, you can't tell me the guy that's wrestled for 2 or 3 weeks in his training camp isn't going to be stronger than the guy that didn't.
Yeah, and that's something interesting, right? So do you kind of feel with your kind of experience?
I'll tell you the funny one. Rewind the clock, and I don't want to sound like an old cunt all the time, but hey, rewind the clock back to 1998, 1999. I had a gym in the backyard of a house that I owned. And a boxer, I don't know whether you guys will know the name, but in Queensland, full respected boxer, fought for a world title, the works. Ricky Thornsbury. Noel Thornsbury was his brother, his trainer, and their father was a famous fighter as well before he had an injury. Ricky Thornsbury and Noel Thornsbury fronted up at my gym and said they were friends with Brian Murphy at the time. He brought him in and said, you know what, this guy ties his opponent up in the thing and, you know, like makes them tired. He goes, I want my brother to grapple you guys twice a week. Man, that dude came and grappled twice a week. And he said it was like, and this was a tough boxer, like old school boxer. And he said, fuck, man, that was hard work every week. He hated it, but he did it. I think he won the fight, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back then they were thinking it.
Yeah, that ties kind of into what I wanted to ask, because I've kind of read some opinions of the way that boxing has lost its clinch element. Like, people used to know clinch is a big part of boxing.
Oh yeah, look, when and here's one to point out. When Brian Murphy first made the move to boxing, and he used to fight for money, man. He would take a fight on a day's notice and punch on with anyone. That's where he mastered the art of tying them up, tying their arms up. And the first few fights he was struggling with it, but because he couldn't get punches off of him, and he made it a bit of his own style to tie people up.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather also quite a good example of someone who really knew how to use the clinch in boxing. I suppose, do you feel like, coming from your experience in Muay Thai and now broadening out to work with MMA fighters, to work with boxers as well, do you think there's more crossover value between the sports than we sometimes realise? Like, there's lessons to learn from different sports?
If I speak honestly, people are gonna hate this. I fucking hate watching MMA guys trying to hit the pads. Sometimes it just looks disgusting. Their technique, I don't know whether it's the guys holding pads that they choose to be their pad holders, whether it's that or whether it's just the lack of knowledge that they have when it comes to the striking. But there's some good ones and there's some bad ones. You know what I mean? I think because MMA has such a rounded thing of like, so, you know, like, they respect Taekwondo. Like, you say to a normal Thai boxing person, oh, Taekwondo, he's going to say, fucking Taekwondo, weak. But, man, you have to respect their kicking style and the way they move and their speed and everything. So I think MMA has a more open understanding to all martial arts. And I think that when even Hammer used to say, you know, we're martial artists first. And we all started in different martial arts. So we should never forget our martial arts journey, you know. So I think as I've got older, maybe I respect more in different styles and that. But I'm still a purist when it comes to pad work and kneeing and elbow and that. Like sometimes you just see the guy and think, man, that just looks like a rape victim.
When you're doing your pad work, like for MMA, make any little adjustments to how you train them, or is this
you know that I don't really know the terminologies in that yet. Like I'm still learning, but you know when you tap their leg and they'll sprawl out, you know, like that, different stuff like that. You can add that stuff in. I think that stuff helps. But knowing that when you get an MMA guy to throw a body kick, there's a good chance it's going to get caught and he's going to get, like, he could get ended from it. So I think knowing the, I don't know, the strategies of fighting and that, like, you know, they brought out that calf kick and they said, oh, the calf kick. Man, how long did that last until people started breaking their legs? Ask a Thai boxer that, they would have said, I'm not fucking kicking him there. I'm going to break my shin. So it's one of those things. I think it's fighting in general is always a work in progress.
I mean, I'm interested as well to kind of, like, I think MMA being such a young sport, we see big changes. Like the calf kick's a good example. Everyone decided for a minute that the calf kick was revolutionizing
wonderful.
the game. Yeah, it was unstoppable. This calf
kick. Conor McGregor, if it's wonderful.
Yeah, for real. But I think, like, it's also interesting to see sometimes, I feel, the way that MMA being so young, there are still elements of the core martial arts involved that sport has only really scratched the surface of.
Hey, Hugh, I agree with you 1,000,000%. At the moment, it's like they go through little fads, like it'll be a certain style or a certain way of thing. But look at Israel Adesanya. Man, he started off kickboxing and Thai boxing. You know what I mean? So to say, you can't tell me he had done much wrestling training before he changed. He would have learning on the job, I reckon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the best place to learn, in the gym or on the night.
And that's what I'm interested to get your take on as someone who has that rich experience in Muay Thai. I feel as someone, again, I don't know much about MMA, I don't pretend to, but as an outside observer, I've never really felt like the base striking style was kind of like anything that resembles pure Muay Thai. I think being American-centric, they quite like an almost karate style.
Yeah, if you
bit
look
more
at the
about
history,
the hands.
If you look at the history of fighting, there's no famous American Muay Thai fighters.
Yeah.
There's a few running around now.
Yeah.
They're like one or two running around that are all right. But in the day, Sugarfoot Cunningham would have been and he fought Sakat Petyindi or whatever it is a few times. But man, other than that, what can you really? They were more of a kickboxing nation.
Yeah.
So for when I hear, hey, I'm not bagging Joe Rogan, I'm not bagging any of the commentators but when I hear some of them say, "Oh, beautiful this," and you wouldn't even know what a beautiful elbow looks like. You have your judgment is you sort of, hey, just because you've got 1 million followers on Instagram doesn't make you an expert at throwing an elbow.
Yeah, and do you feel that, you know, maybe that's the difference maker that you can bring into MMA is that real Muay Thai, but with an open-mindedness to apply it to MMA? Is that something you feel like you're going to do differently?
Definitely, if Rocky made the move to MMA, I think that they will see at a lightweight. Because you've got to remember, heavyweights in any sport swing massive punches. It's about the punches. Anyone that says heavyweights ain't about punching, you know, one punch can change the fight. Yeah, in heavyweight it can, for sure.
Yeah.
In the lighter weights, it's about skill and what you show and the display of techniques you've got. I think Rocky has got a really good chance of like if he got picked up by UFC or, you know, I don't even know the things, or Japan, Risen, whatever it's called, different places that they have good fights. If Rocky got picked up in one of those series, man, they're gonna see proper Muay Thai. Yes, he'll wrestle and that on the ground, but standing up, man, that little guy elbows like fucking lightning.
Yeah.
His elbows are crazy.
And he also like has good experience, like fighting in the little gloves as well already.
Yeah, because he's been on one. Like he's not scared of the little gloves. He likes it.
Yeah,
We've actually got punished making us some new gloves I've ordered like about 16 pairs for the team so we can spar in those gloves with small gloves on.
Okay.
So like, yeah, I'm making moves. We'll remember this podcast.
This is the turning point.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I still love Muay Thai. I'll always love Muay Thai. You know what I mean? And I always love Thailand. My daughter's Thai. Like, how am I not going to love Thailand? But at 50 years old, man, I've done Thai boxing for 30 years. I want to try something new.
And that does kind of tie into something I'm interested to get your take on, because we spoke in, the last time we did a podcast, we touched on like a bit of a disillusionment with the state of Muay Thai. The shows aren't as big as they used to be. It's not moving the way it used to move. And I guess my question for you, now that you're really on with doing MMA, do you feel like Muay Thai and MMA can kind of survive alongside each other? Or do you see this getting to a place where MMA kind of just eats Muay Thai and it's kind of just the one combat sport?
There'll always be room for Muay Thai. There's always going to be room for boxing. There's always going to be room for MMA. There's like combat sports run. It's not like, NRL and like rugby league and Aussie rules are two totally different sports.
Yeah.
But MMA has boxing. It has Muay Thai. It has wrestling. Muay Thai has boxing. It has kicking, like kickboxing. Like they're more interwound. It's more. And I think the people in each sport all know each other because martial arts isn't that big of a thing in Australia. Like, not that it's not big, but it's a small community. We all know each other. You know these guys from the kung fu world. You know these guys from the wrestling world. You know these guys. You know what I mean? Like it's a small. Anyone that's anyone in the sport knows. Oh yeah, that's such and such, or their friend will know someone. So I think it integrates easier. I've got a guy I'm going to bring up because I should have said at the beginning. I've got a young bloke here, Dim Skillets. Man, that cunt. Holy shit. He, man, one of the toughest dudes I've met. And one of the most, when he comes in, man, you think he's out of a Cheech and Chong movie. He's like, he's just so cool and so relaxed and such a lovely person. Man, that guy, he'll take a boxing fight. 2 weeks later, he'll fight on Eternal MMA. A week, he's always chasing us. All he wants to do is have a Muay Thai fight. Now, all he wants to do is fight Muay Thai. And we've said to him, we'll get him one eventually, but he's just so busy. Everyone books him. And man, he fights anyone.
So, like, seeming that, like, we're going to this, like, MMA arena now, do you yourself and Paul Coley might see an opportunity for a promotion? MMA.
Look, I don't want to say too much, but there's been talks about it. There's definitely talks. People forget Paul Demacoli actually ran a show called Fate.
Yeah,
Fate or something. I don't think I was here, or maybe I don't know. Maybe it was before I went, but he did run MMA shows at one stage, and he's got belts and everything.
It's like
just sitting in the cupboard.
It's just like this is the same thing. Just look back in this podcast and in a couple. It's all in the works.
Well, we're gonna see some.
We better get back. We better get back to Muay Thai. Our side's gonna get the shits and Mark the Hammer and all.
It's like Sai likes Muay Thai. He likes MMA.
He loves it. He's Iranian. He loves wrestling.
Yeah, he loves wrestling.
Yeah.
So, like, one of the other I guess that transitions talking about Sai as well. Like, other topics we're going to talk about is the effect of COVID at the moment on combat sport itself. Well, here in New South Wales, we feel the pinch very hard, and it's like it's great to see that Rebellion Roots is actually getting a run tomorrow from there as well, which is great. How do you think combat is going to look?
Who would have thought you're going to wake up one day, there's going to be some virus, and then the whole world's going to change. I was actually in Thailand for my daughter's birthday. I think it's 2 years ago. Where did COVID come out 2 years ago?
coming up on 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, coming up. Yeah, so not last year, the year before. So it must have been 2019.
Yeah.
Rightio. 2019 January. I'm in Thailand. Paul Demacaulay came with me. I go to celebrate my daughter's birthday. Okay, and we're in Pattaya at the time, and we're staying at Hard Rock Hotel, and we're in the, you know, I don't know, the lounge where you get a, like, I don't know what it is, you know, the, like, it's like a private thing. If you pay more money, I don't know. You stay in this thing. You get breakfast in this private area, whatever. You can go in, use computers, like all that stuff, pre-dinner drinks, all that sort of thing. I don't know what it's called, but whatever it is.
Sounds good though.
Yeah, it was all right. We're sitting in there, and these two ladies are sitting across from us, like European ladies, and they say to us, "Oh, have you heard what's going on in Europe?" And I say, "No," and she said, "Oh, there's a virus going there, but it's making people very sick, and it's come from China." Well, me and Paul Demacaulay saying, "Oh, yeah, we're just Aussies." So, yeah, oh, whatever, mate. Then we go because we were flying back to Melbourne after that for the award night or whatever it was that Hammer did. Yep. The Muay Thai Awards.
Muay Thai Awards, yeah.
Yep. We're flying back to that. And I had a ticket, but Paul Demacaulay was booking his. We couldn't get him a flight.
Yeah.
Because the flights were all getting booked, and no one wanted to be in Asia. And there was a few people at the airport with the masks on. I'm thinking, what's this? Who would have thought that would turn into the last 2 years of the gyms getting shut down, this and that? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, a similar thing happened to me, right? Like, I was in Thailand too, but only last March, and I had basically decided I was just going to stay. I did what everyone did. I spent 3 months there, and I was like, oh, I might just not go home. And then I got a call from a friend, and I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't watching the news. I would hear things, and the Thais had started to put. Yeah, I had to wear a mask to Channel 7. I was like, okay, it's a bit weird, but whatever. And then someone called me, go, you keeping up with this? And I go, not really, to be honest. They said, mate, come home. And I was like, oh, I've got a flight booked, but I was just going to skip it and stay there. They go, look, come home. I promise you come home, and you can go back in a few months. But you don't want to be over there. You know, in the next couple of months. And I listened, and I came home, and then, you know, haven't been able to leave Sydney since.
Man, it's hey, it's like you say, if you didn't come home, man, think of all the guys that get stuck overseas, and then you've got to wait, and the government tells you when you can come or when you can't come. If I would have stayed there, imagine I would have been in Asia. And like I tell the stories of it. Some days I had good days there. Sometimes it was bad. Sometimes I had good money there. Sometimes I didn't have any. When I look back to it, if I got stuck in Thailand at that time, man, I would have been fucked. Yeah, I would have been with my daughter. But at the end of the day, how do I provide for her if I'm stuck in the house?
Scary.
Like, yeah, man. I think at the end of the day, my whole, you know, when things happen for a reason, I started the gym for, man, I'm happy now. Like, yeah, she's got a grandma there. She's got a mum there. They look after her. I send her money every month. Like, if I would have stayed there, how the hell would I have provided and got money, you know, food on the table? Like, man, it would have been impossible.
Yeah.
So it's scary times when you're stuck overseas, and still heaps of people that are still stuck.
Heaps of people are stuck, man.
Still stuck, yeah.
What's it like in Queensland, man? Like, you know, it's like you had to shut down.
We at the beginning of it, we had a big shutdown, and then after that, we've only had like 3-day lockdowns and that every now and then. But like, we have to have. Hey, I'm not one of these conspiracist dudes. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying it's real. But I'm going to go with the jab thing just to start. I'm 50 years old. I'm hearing that if you have the jab, you can die. Like, you got 2 years and you're going to die maybe, or blood clots, this and that. I'm fucking healthy as shit. Or I think I am. I don't go to the doctor, so I wouldn't know. But I'm happy being me. I'll die when this old body wants to die. No one's going to tell me to get a needle. Like, I don't think that's right. I think that's so wrong, like terribly wrong, that They can say to you, you have to get this needle. Well, it doesn't even stop the virus. Like, I don't know the needles we got when we were kids, but you know the needles you get when you're really young for different things? Man, they stop you from getting it your whole life. Why are we going to get something that you just works for 6 months? I'm not getting into the, you know, they put codes in you and they do all that. Like, I'm not even coming into that, mate. Boy,
Yeah, there's enough vaccinations.
The Queensland police like me enough. They already know where I am. They don't have to put something in my arm. So, yeah. But the law, like even the laws, like even like, I don't know. I watch the stuff on social media and that, and you see people getting like throwing old men on the ground. You haven't got a mask on. Get on the ground, man. What the fuck is that? Leave them alone, man.
These are strange times.
Yeah. See, look, I'm not bagging the coppers. I'm not bagging the government. But man, just let people. If they really are going to make people get the needle, everybody should get the same one. It shouldn't be different ones. Why is there different ones? I think it's, I don't want to get into conspiracies again and that, but I said this from day one to Paul Demacoli and he laughed and said I'm an idiot. But he had a giggle. You think about it. There's so many people in the world with Instagram and Facebook and all that. I know I always go back to Instagram, but I like Instagram. I enjoy using it. I think you can stay in touch with people, this and that. But you go to Instagram and you look. I reckon the really super elite rich people just got sick of seeing cunts like me sitting in places where they've got photos and thought, you know what? I don't like that this tattooed cunt's got a photo at this place. We should have something that separates the world. And that's what it feels like. If you're rich, you can do what you want. If you're poor, you have to just go along with the numbers.
Oh, that's right. It's like, that when the middle class got made, but the higher class always want to go back to that.
Yeah, hey, it really does. When you look at some of the things they're saying, it's sort of like Thailand a bit. The high, I hate it, man. High so, low so, like the lower class in Thailand. There's no middle. Man, everybody's the same. It doesn't matter what you do. And like another one, my cleaner at my gym is French. He's a Frenchman. And on Queensland TV with my own eyes, I see it. My mum, I go and visit my mum on Sundays and she says, look, you have to have these passports to go to restaurants in Europe. And they've all sitting there with their passports and the police are checking them. What they didn't show you, what my mate sent to me, his sister, filming, there's thousands of people sitting on the footpath on picnic mats, eating their food because they refuse to get those things. But they're not getting thrown on the ground and beaten on because they're not doing it. They're just getting, that's their choice. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I just don't think the world, like, it's because it's such a thing that haven't been hit with before. No one knows how to respond, and it's like you're getting like at the moment, like I don't bother going on Facebook because fuck that. That's just a bit toxic.
Minefield. Yeah.
Instagram, I can still kind of escape the reality a little bit. Like,
because here's the golden rule in my life. I got rid of Facebook for this reason. Every cunt's whinging. Everyone's telling you how bad, how sad, and fucking whatever. Instagram's just pictures. You see a picture, maybe someone puts a bit of a spiel on there, but it's just pictures. You can admire a picture, you can look at a picture, you can watch a video of training, you can do whatever. And it's quick and short and the next one comes along. Man, I really think that if you're listening to the news and you're reading Facebook every day, you're going to send yourself crazy. That's why I think I don't get upset by it all. Like, it's really bad what's happening. It's sad for the gyms. It's sad for the fighters. Sad for the promoters. But my advice to anyone is don't take it so seriously. Like, unless you can't go to work, then you've got to start asking questions. But other than that, man, like, look at Hammer. Hammer's I feel for that guy. He still has to pay rent. Yeah. How the fuck does he get the money to pay the rent?
On a monster facility as well, similar facility to yours.
My rent money is his electric bill every month. So yeah,
that's cool. But it's like up at your area is like that like a lot of gyms haven't shut down because like I guess you haven't helped. Like
we had a thing a few weeks ago where it was like a caught up thing where even me and Paul Demicoli not arguing, but we were discussing and like who's right, who's wrong. You don't know. They were saying contact sports can't go on, blah blah. I think Thai boxing's a contact sport. You're in front of it. You're sweating on each other.
Yeah.
But other people thought no, it's okay if you just do the bag or you just do this. Like there's so many. The interpretation of the rules, you can't really go for it. Like, yeah, you just got to wait and see if the coppers turn up. I think
that's how we've been running it.
Yeah.
It just goes like, I think this is right.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if let's have you and Paul Demicoli got together and let's say let's say Queensland gets hit as hard as Melbourne or Sydney. Is there any kind of things that you plan for?
Look, the only thing I know is we got this thing. We got the check-in things. We do everything that they ask and what to do. But like, man, I hear. I don't want to say names, but I feel sorry for some guys because I hear them say, if we get locked down again, I'm gonna have to shut my gym. That's it. I'm finished. Really? Like that breaks my heart.
Oh yeah, fuck. Yeah. It's devastating because even just watching now, like I've seen a few places shut. Like as close as like say Lewis Regis, he had to shut down his Bondi Cafe with his mate.
Crazy.
That's in the
it's definitely affected everyone in some way.
Yeah.
But like
back to kickboxing, gentlemen.
Yeah,
back to kickboxing.
How do I segue this? But there is shows happening in up your area now, which is awesome to see. So
we're actually putting on a boxing show on the 15th of October.
Oh yeah,
love it.
With Ricky De Silva as the main event. So we went and saw the venue yesterday. Me, Steve Wajenko, and Mr. D, and so.
Can people outside Queensland catch it?
Pardon?
Live stream or anything?
They'll definitely be live stream, and it's a good show. It's a good show.
Love it.
Where are you holding that at?
The Mansfield Tavern.
Good old Mansfield.
The old
Classic
Mansfield,
venue.
Yeah. The funny part is when we went in there, I'm having flashbacks. I fought there. Steve Wajenko fought half his professional boxing fights there. So it was and Mr. D had promoted 4 or 5 shows there. So like it was like a walk down memory lane.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then I see Eruption pushed back the date to December now. Is that?
Yeah, they pushed it back to December for that same thing. Like, it's just hard on how many people you can fit in. It's like this. I don't even understand it, but like the 2 meter rule. I don't know, whatever they say. But
they had a big lineup of interstaters as well. 2 was going to go fight Jonathan Iolu, and Soraya was going to go fight Alma. And, too hard when you don't know if the borders are open and things like that.
And Rocky was meant to headline that card as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, man. It's like, guys, stop ripping the good shit away from us. Some cards.
Yeah, but you just don't know you can't wake up and know what's going to happen. My advice to any of the fighters, girls or boys, just keep training, don't get frustrated, and like, it'll come good. Don't sit and be in the downs and say, this is fucked, my life, blah, blah. Hey, live through it, get through it, make you a stronger person. Everyone's got to get through it. So, yeah. If you love your dream and you really believe in yourself, you won't give in something like this. Like, this is nothing like it's not. I wouldn't say it's a loss, but it's nothing that you can't get through. So eventually, if you persevere, you're going to get there.
That's a mentality to live by.
Yeah, you have to, man. That's me every day.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, the industry itself, I found, is like it's very adaptable. But they got people that are heading it that's helping, like yourself, Cy Melbourne, Andrew Parham is like, just making the shows happen.
Yeah, I feel for Cy, I feel for Andrew Parham, I feel for Hammer. It's a sad time, but I think if everyone keeps saying the same message to keep pushing and not give in, it wouldn't be called fighting if it was easy.
You're up.
So you just got to remember where you're from and who you are, and that you're a fighter, and that's what you got to do.
Nice, good. So like kind of like we're coming towards the end of our time here from that, but like yourself, Nugget, what, much else going on you want to talk about?
No, I haven't really got much.
Yeah.
Not much that I'm giving away anyway.
There's all the teasers. You got
That's close to the chest. Yeah.
That's all good though. Sweet. All right. All good. All right. So like, hey, like mate, that was awesome again. Another great chat. Yeah. Like, you really appreciate you coming on as well.
I love it. I like having a chat in the yarn.
Yeah.
You're welcome here anytime, mate.
Yeah.
We have to make our own nugget series. A little offshoot of
they keep saying they should. If you knew the dramas I had with girls, that's not going on the thing. Cut that off.
Hey, I always talk to Hugh about like we'll just do like like a combat chat after dark, but just Patreon.
Oh yeah, man. They would line up for it. Oh, man, I've got stories. I'm always in the doghouse.
That's why we love you, though. Thank. Cool. So everyone else, thanks for listening to us again. So remember, always like, subscribe, share the fucking podcast. Yes, like if you like us, you got to share it out. Get it out there.
Yeah. I really pumped I try to do my own little thing to push it out there as well. The other one did good, but the other one
you're
did
our
good,
most
but
popular guest. You're our most popular guest, Nugget.
Yeah.
But like,
wait till you advertise. If you advertise one with the after dark, you're gonna kill it.
We might have to do it.
Yeah. You can put in a poll. You can do a poll and say who wants to do one with Nugget after dark.
That's it.
Be careful.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Right, so how do we end this?
I'm just going to run the intro, mate. Stick around. We'll still have a little bit of chat from there. But everyone else, though, all right, we'll catch you next week. All right.
See ya.